And we're live. Good morning from Scotland. How are you all today? Please leave comments. Thank you for your kind messages. Thanks for comments on the last message. I read them all. Really, really positive stuff there. I hope everybody's continuing to pray for peace and truth and to continue to elevate your consciousness, at least to be in a joyful state. Today with me, I'm going to read a short piece and a piece from my book. So stand by. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divide his sheep from the goats, and he shall set the sheep on the right hand, but the goats on the left hand. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come ye, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. Are you listening? Are you now knowing why you're seeing those being divided? For I was a-hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an-hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave ye a drink? When was we thee a stranger, and took ye in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when was we the sick, or in prison, or came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto one of at least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for of the devil and with his angels. For I was an-hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when was we thee an-hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye did not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away unto the everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. What is eternal life, guys? It's quite an interesting perspective. And I think there's a part in the Vedic script that actually speaks about when the disciples were going up to Shiva and asking for some advice and asking about life. And I think there's a really interesting one I've shared for a few years now. A young student comes up and he asks, what's life? And Shiva replies, I'll show you a mantra. He says, come with me and I'll show you. And he says to the student, he says, see this worm? He says, I want you to do this and say this. And the guy does it, says it, and the worm shrivels up and dies. And then he says, see this butterfly? And he says the same thing. He says, say it to it and do it. And the butterfly goes, poof, dies. He says, see the deer running in there? Say it to it. And the deer keels over and fucking dies. At this point, the young student's like, what the fuck? So he's starting to get to the point where he doesn't want to do this anymore, right? Because this is obviously some magic. And just as Shiva turns, there's more in the queue waiting to join, to come up to ask more questions. He turns to the queue and he sees a couple, the baby, and they're coming up obviously to receive blessings, to ask for blessings. And he says to the young student, he says, see this baby? Say it to the baby. Do it to the baby. And the guy says, no, man, I can't. The baby sits forward and he says, You did it to me when I was a worm. You did it to me when I was a butterfly. And you did it to me when I was a deer. Please do it to me now, to make me divine. Everlasting life. Are you getting it? This is the evolution of a consciousness. It's an evolution of your awareness. And if you think about it, when you reach a human scale, if you sit there thinking this whole realm's full of fear, you think about you as the individual and never help another, then are you actually evolving your own consciousness? Or are you saying to yourself, I'm so effing dumb, I want to go back to being a deer, or I want to go back to being a butterfly, rather than continuing your evolution as a conscious being? It's truly profound, and all the answers are right before our face. It's up to us on how we can expand our awareness in the time that we have to expand our awareness. There's many wisdoms that we keep tapping into. I love to share them here on the channel, and I'm going to head on over to John. Right, so stand by. Right, you might enjoy this one. The elders unto the beloved guys, whom I love in truth. Beloved, I wish above all things that thee may prosper and be healthy, even as my soul prospereth. For I rejoice greatly when the brethren came and testified of the truth that is in thee, even as thou walkest in truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Beloved, thou doest faithful whatever thou doest to the brethren and to a stranger, which have borne witness of the charity before the church, whom if thou bring forth on their journey after a godly sort, thou shalt do well, because thou, for his name's sake, they went forth, taking nothing of the Gentiles. We therefore ought to receive such that we might be fellow helpers of the truth. Let me go back. We therefore ought to receive such that we might be fellow helpers to the truth. I write unto the church, but who I loveth to have promiscuous among them receiveth us not. Wherefore, if I come, I will remember his deeds, which he doeth, prating against us and malicious words, and not content where nothing doeth. I love how they put the old word doeth. Excuse me. Wherefore, if I come, I will remember all his deeds which he had done, prating against us with malicious words, and not content therewith, neither doeth himself receive he brethren, and forbiddeth them that would, and cast them out of the church. Beloved, follow not that which is evil, but that which is good. He that doeth good is of God, but he that doeth evil has not seen God. Have good reports of all men, and of the truth itself. Ye and we also bear record, and ye know that our record is true. I have not many things to write, but I will not with ink and pen write unto thee, because I trust I shall shortly see thee, and we shall speak face to face. Peace be to thee. Our friends salute thee. Greet the friends by name. Greet the friends by name. Very, very powerful. And this was the third of John. Camera, focus camera. I need a new camera. If anybody wants to donate, every donation is helping at this point. I'm moving house. I need as much income as I can get, and I'm going to buy a new camera very soon. Thank you. As I said in yesterday's podcast, we have to remember that we came from dust, we go to dust, and the evolution of time in this realm is all about expanding our awareness. In my book that I've been writing since the beginning of the year, I've gotten a few interesting synchronicities and some points, and today I was going to pull a little passage out of there just to give you an insight. And if anybody wants to help back the book, I'm needing revenue. Donation link is in the backers link is in the description. For the moment, everything shall apart in the end. People, buildings, institutions. We are living in those times. We will witness a great fall of many from veils of blindness. Level of indoctrinations will be removed in such a way that the cascading effect will be noticeable, that it will make 2018's wave look like a tiny blip in the scale of awareness gained by the masses. But in my book, I've spoke about the ever-unfolding quest and why I actually started writing the book, which is all based around synchronicities and many other events as it cascades, you know. Let me share you a small piece. I'm going to highlight where I want to stop. Here we go. My whole life, I've seen through most, if not all, of the broken parts in the realm, which has only but led me to more truths and a deeper quest to reach the level of truths of which I've delved into, all of which can be obtained to and by each and every one of you, if you are willing to find the true treasures of the realm. But as it is written, there is nothing new under the sun. And the fact that many people can continue to interact with others which cause wicked by their own clandestine acts, it truly is disgusting. It drives one to the point where you find out the realm meaning behind the hardships, and why many live a lifetime in a dull state of consciousness, which is, in other words, a glass half empty state of conscious awareness, like I just spoke about moments ago. If you look at how people are trying to evolve, they're actually trying to make themselves in their next incarnation be the deer, the worm. It's continue for the book. These are the wishes of the players of the grand chessboard to accomplish that over everyone, and any of you that dabble in the acts of the wicked will surely be separated with the wicked, as sure as it's written in Proverbs 27:4-31, because it is also written in the Bible, there is nothing new under the sun, and that is the God's truth of the realm. It doesn't matter if we choose to live a life of ignorance, or if we choose to learn the actual truths and find out ways beyond the hardships, which are presented to everyone so that they too will find their divine in all. Only when one reaches the true state of elevated consciousness will they actually start to be able to alter the realm to share kindness, love, happiness, and to a state of which the divine created you all to be. I'll continue. Instead of looking at the rich going, whoa, they have everyone. Everything. We should be looking at them saying, gosh, it will be really hard for them when they find their hardships, because they will have a greater fall than any of those that are on the other end of the scale. All of these truths are also written in the Bible, and I'm not sure if you want to sit here and preach the book to you all. Frankly, I'd rather tell you how short of a time frame you really have to grasp even a tiny % of what I have written in my book. And the reason I say time is short is because there is a major lacking in the truth levels of awareness in the majority of those that believe they are actually awake. And that truly makes me laugh, because yet again Steiner warned us that is how Lucifer plays the game with Armin, and in the sense that one will create a technological objective and the other consciousness will take of it and alter it so that it serves the other, much like what you will be able to see in a political arena, if you truly have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And as I have just shared above, there are not many of the truly enlightened people. Actually, we have been watching them depart over the last years. And we must all join in the presence for the others to recognize and remember their role they incarnated here for. Well, that's from my book, guys, and I'm not going to bore you with too much more of my book at the moment. This is from one of the chapters. It's quite far down, and I thought it had a great bit of relevance, the events that's unfolding. And there's been a lot of synchronicities for myself in the last years, and as this year's unfolded, the number 7 and the events of 7 seems to be coming around to me a lot. And I'm going to play a short snippet that Isha Foundation created back in March. Once again, it speaks of the 7, and I don't know how I'm going to manage it in this podcast. I'll maybe try, but I want to also share what Rudolf Steiner spoke about the 7 seals. So watch this video.
Adiyogi absorbed her and made her a part of himself, and hence he is the Ardhanari, the ideal man, where one half of him is woman. Seeing the splendor of this magnificent union, Ghanas, his constant companions, asked, "What about us?" Adiyogi said, "Just drink of me," which drove them into intoxicated raptures. Seven sages, the Saptarishis, took the sacred science of yoga in all its forms to human habitations across the planet, which turned into crucibles of civilization.
So the link is in the description to watch the whole episode of the Mahashivaratri hosted by Isha. I didn't want to play too much of his content, but I definitely recommend you guys taking time to go and look at the whole clip. For me, in sharing it in today's video, it takes me to the number 7, is where I was finishing prior to the beginning. And if you take time to look in most of the ancient scripts, the number 7 seems to come up a lot, especially when it speaks of heaven, spirituality, walking the truth line. And as you can see from Sadhguru's story, he's speaking about the 7 sages. And that also connects to what we have here in the Scottish constellations, is known as the Big Dipper. And those guys, or those stars, they are known as the 7 sages of ages, and the 7 sages, 7. And then if you go to the Bible, you've got the 7 churches, the 7 candlesticks. And what I've been realizing, and it's going to be in the book, it's in the book, the 7 seems to be actually connect to what Isha was saying. And if you go back through time, then these 7 sages that sat with the Adiyogi, the yogi, they were sent out to create civilizations. And if you take it back to the Vedic script, it even speaks of the god time, the kalpas, and you can learn about the actual strip of time, and how that it is actually turning to the point where God knows itself and where God doesn't know itself. And like I've been saying this whole year, we're going through a period where you'll find that those that are blinded will not be able to incarnate in this realm. And we'll actually watch the decrease of population, not in the sense that it's like the Grand Reset. We'll actually, these beings, souls, spirits, they will no longer be able to incarnate because they have no faith to see the One. And those that are left here will be here to see the One. And this is why, and if you go back to some of the history events, that's why certain people have awareness of seeing things and others do not. And it's because they're blinded by a small g, and others have the sight to see with a big G. And that's partly where the 7 comes in. We're looking around the realm, and those that can see the truth in each other, they are those that will still be here. And those that are blinded and stuck to the material world and stuck to their problems, their half-empty cup, this is your last go. You will not incarnate again after this one for a great period of time. Probably 1.432 million years, if you want it in the timeline. And this, I'm not making up. Go read the Vedic scripts. Go read the Bible. Go learn your stuff. And if you look at what Rudolf Steiner was warning us all about through the anthroposophical movement, or the theosophical movement, it's all spoke of. And they're not making this stuff up. They have taken the time to read a thick book and expand their awareness. How many others are doing that now? And we've just witnessed the realm go through some might call it a hardship act, a puppet show, but it's the same puppet show that they tried back in World War I. And I released a video a year ago, the most banned movie on earth, and it was about how the Freemasons actually orchestrated such and such events, which were worldwide cascading. And the people that made the movie, they were killed because they made the movie. Not only that, they killed members of their family. And you can look up that. And that's on my channel. I'll try and dig a link and put it in the description for you guys. And of course, it's on BitChute, because ScrewedTube is screwed. Oh, it doesn't half make you laugh, does it? It shows you the power of truth. They do not want you to have the truth. And part of, I think, the Great Reset, some of these people know in the cults what I've just said to you is true. Thus, they're trying to make a puppet show behind the real event so that they can elude you into another event. And if you take the time to read the Revelations, the back of the book, end of the book, the end, Revelations, yeah, you might reveal something to yourself. because it's all prophetic. The whole history is all prophetic in a loop. Time and time again. All told to you. Nothing new under the sun. So in the Revelator section of the Bible, Revelation 7, thanks to John, after, and to connect to the Yeshua foundation part when they're talking about the 7 sages, and to connect to what I was talking about time, 4, and after these things I saw 4 angels standing in the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth. And that wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on the trees. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard a number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed in 144,000, and all the tribes of the children of Israel, and the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Aser were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephilim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Ishar were sealed the 12,000. Of the tribe of Zabu were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, and kindred, and people, and tongue, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation of our God, which sitteth upon the throne and upon the Lamb. Interesting. So if you delve deep into it, it actually connects back to civilization's cycle. And as I was saying, the Revelations, it connects to a lot of other interesting historical stuff, and all the cults, occults, they know where they are in time. They know this kalpa, and they know that we are into the time and period where people need to know the divine. Because this is the part where if you're not with one direction, your incarnation can no longer incarnate, or you would incarnate as a lesser being. It's like living in a state of fear as a conscious being. Us humans have a profound peace compared to all the other parts in this realm. You have an imagination, you have a way of thinking. So why spend all the time imagining or thinking of the past? None of them is a gift. It is the gift of your mind, but none of them is living in the now. And to live in the presence is to live in the presence of God, you, divine. It all, everything, it's all in your hands. The key is always inside you to take outside here. The power of our imagination is very strong, and that's our gift compared to the animal kingdom, compared to the plants. How many of you actually walk in that same joyful state of consciousness that you deserve to be? I love you dearly. This is why I make you the videos. I hope they're serving you very well. And I'm wishing you a great day from Scotland. God bless you and all that's dear to you. Remember, and click the links in the description. Check out everything. Thank you so kindly. Have a lovely day. And comments, subscribe, all that good stuff. I read them all. If you want to email me any content that I can share on here and you feel that it deserves to be shown to others, then just email me, john@allforsynchronicity.com. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
This is a reading of the lecture cycle, The Apocalypse of St. John by Rudolf Steiner. Lecture 4, given in Nuremberg on the 21st of June, 1908. Yesterday, we saw how the Apocalypse of John prophetically points to the cycle of human evolution, lying between the great upheaval upon our earth, which the legends of various peoples describe as a flood, and geologists call the Ice Age on the one hand, and that event which we designate the War of All Against All on the other. In the epoch between these two events lies everything prophetically referred to in this apocalyptic book with the 7 messages to the churches. This book, which reveals to us the beings of past ages, in order to show what is to fire our will and our impulses for the future. We have seen how we ourselves, in the spiritual movement to which we belong, should consider the words of the so-called 5th message as a summons to action, to work. We have seen that we ought to follow that being with the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. And we have seen how through this spiritual movement the next age is prepared, which is represented by the community of Philadelphia, the age when, among all those who have understood the word of the summons, there is to be that brotherly love over the whole earth, which is described in the Gospel of John. Afterward another age, the 7th, will follow, which the writer of the Apocalypse describes by showing, on the one hand, all that is bad in the community representing the 7th age, that is lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, that could not warm to the spiritual life, and hence must fall away. And on the other hand, those who have understood the word of invitation, those who will become the followers of him who says, quote, "I am the Amen," close quote. That is, I am he who unifies in himself the goal of man, who contains the Christ principle in himself. Now let us keep for a later occasion all that could be added in further explanations of the several messages, and in justification of the several names of the cities. Today we shall pass on in our studies to what presents itself to the pupil when he advances to the next stage of initiation. We were confronted by the 7 sub-periods of the present cycle of mankind. And we said that this entire cycle, with its 7 sub-periods, is itself a small cycle contained in a longer period, also containing 7 epochs. Our cycle, which embraces 7 ages, was preceded by the Atlantean cycle, during which were developed the races whose echoes still exist. When the 7th age of our present cycle is at an end, it will be followed by another cycle, again consisting of 7 parts. The present cycle is preparing indirectly for the next one, so that we may say our age of culture will gradually pass over into one of brotherly love, when a comparatively small part of mankind will have understood the spiritual life and will have prepared the spirit and attitude of brotherly love. That culture will then again divide off a smaller portion of human beings, who will survive the event which will have such a destructive effect upon our cycle, namely the war of all against all. In this universal destructive element, there will be everywhere individuals who lift themselves above the rest of warring humanity, individuals who have understood the spiritual life, and who will form the foundation for a new and different epoch, the epoch of the 6th period. Something similar also took place during the transition from the 4th epoch to ours, when one who, with spiritual vision, can review the course of time, has passed back through the ages we have considered, the Greco-Roman, the Babylonian Egyptian, the ancient Persian, and the ancient Indian, and beyond the time of the Great Flood, He comes into the Atlantean epoch. We need not now consider it in detail, but we must at least understand how this Atlantean civilization passed over into our own. There, too, the greater part of the Atlantean population was not sufficiently mature to develop further. It was incapable of coming over into our times. A smaller part, living in a region near to present-day Ireland, developed to the highest flowering of the civilization of Atlantis, and then journeyed toward the east. We must understand that this was only the principal stream. There were always peoples who migrated from the west to the east, and all the later peoples of Europe, of northern and central Europe, proceeded from that stream which went from the west to the east. That most advanced part of the Atlantean population was under the guidance of a great leader of mankind, and eventually settled down as a very small tribe of chosen individuals in Central Asia. From this point, the colonists migrated to the various regions of culture mentioned, to ancient India, to Persia, Egypt, Greece, etc. You might now be inclined to say, is it not an extremely bitter thought that whole bodies of peoples remain immature and unable to develop their capacities, that only a small group becomes capable of providing the germ for the next culture? This thought will no longer disquiet you if you distinguish between race development and soul development, for no soul is condemned to remain in one particular race. The race may fall behind, the community of people may remain backward, but the souls progress beyond the individual races. If we wish to form a true conception of this, we must say that all the souls now living in bodies in civilized countries were formerly incarnated in Atlantean bodies. A few developed there in the requisite manner and did not remain in Atlantean bodies. As they had developed further, they could become the souls of the bodies which had also progressed further. Only the souls which, as souls, had remained backward, had to take bodies which, as bodies, had remained at a lower stage. If all the souls had progressed, the backward races would either have decreased very much in population, or the bodies would have been occupied by newly incoming souls at a low stage of development.